Hello, my name is Rick Boulay, and I'm the president of Killeen Educators Association and of Region 10 of the Texas State Teachers Association. I'd like to welcome you to our Killeen ISD School Board of Trustees Candidate Forum. I'm very pleased to be your moderator for today's discussion. Enshrined in the Constitution is one of the most important functions that we can perform: our ability to select the officials that make the decisions on how the district operates through our vote. It's through this process that we make our voices and wishes known as to how we wish the education of our children to ultimately proceed in Killeen ISD. The level of material support the district provides, the quality and condition of its facilities, the safety of its buses and equipment, how its educators and support professionals are compensated and treated in the workplace. All of these things and more are provided through the election of those serving on the Board of Trustees. We're here to have a conversation with those who are seeking positions on the board for places 6 and 7. Our goal is to learn more about their stances on positions that directly impact students and those who help make their education possible, how they think, and how they would approach the challenges that face KISD as we continue into the future. We encourage you to listen to their responses as many times as you need and give careful consideration to whom you wish to lead the district forward. Most of all, we highly encourage you to use your power to vote. A voice that remains silent is a voice that gives up control over its fate. We want you, the viewer, to know that the questions for tonight's conversation were selected in advance. All the questions will be put to all the candidates to answer so that you may make your own comparisons and draw your own conclusions. The Executive Board of Killeen Educators Association has not made any decisions regarding potential endorsements and will not make them prior to the conclusion and publishing of this forum in its entirety. What do you see as the biggest challenge confronting the district, and how do you plan on working to tackle that challenge if you're elected?
I think I touched a little bit on it earlier. I think the biggest challenge that we're facing right now is going to be the educational and learning gaps that have been created due to COVID over this last 12 months or so. It's hard to believe that it's only been 12 months. It seems like almost forever ago, but it has changed so much in the district. And again, we've got to find a way to identify how far behind we've fallen, if we've fallen behind, and we've got to find out. So once we identify the gaps that have been created, we've got to find innovative ways to close those gaps and bring these kids back up to speed. My stance on running for school board, again, is it's all about what's best for the kids and doing what's in their best interest. And so to me, that's the biggest challenge that we face is identifying and closing these educational gaps. And especially in campuses, again, that were struggling before COVID. And we've got to help every one of these kids get caught back up and back up to speed and make sure that we haven't missed anything over these last 12 months.
Thank you, Mr. Mills. Ms. Purser.
I think the biggest challenge that we are facing currently is going to be mental wellness. I think people are not eating right, sleeping right, their test grades, their education is poor. I think teachers have been taxed beyond means. We have frontline bus drivers that are frightened every day that they may catch this virus. We have done everything that we can to make sure that we have safety within reasonable measures, but we are all frightened of this. And I think it has really taxed everybody emotionally. So I do think that mental wellness is going to be the biggest issue that we're going to be facing. And I think our children are really suffering. Our educators are really suffering. Like I said, the bus drivers, they're all suffering right now. And I think that this is something that we cannot just dust under the rug and hope that a spring break or a summer break is going to take care of it. This is going to have lasting effects on a lot of people for a very long time. And if we don't make sure that everybody is well, we're going to see a continued deterioration of our community and people that we love.
Thank you, Ms. Purser. Ms. Carter.
I'm still muted. Okay. I think the biggest concern right now is basically safety in the education, the teaching that our students are getting right now. And I'm saying that as a parent. I feel really bad. It's like Ms. Purser was saying, our teachers are being very taxed right now. They're having to do double duty. They're teaching virtual as well as in person. And you know, for someone who's never, who hasn't planned, well, actually, this is new for everybody, basically. You know, this is unprecedented. But, you know, I mean, I've actually dealt with Schoology and I've actually put lessons online and done the virtual because I was sick a lot. But my point being is, but a lot of our teachers have not, weren't basically, well, let's put it this way, they weren't Schoology proficient. It was just something they didn't have to do. You know, if they were tech savvy, then they did, and some of them didn't. And then all of a sudden it's boom, everyone has to learn how to use Schoology. And I think that part of this is being more proactive. I mean, we knew last year that COVID wasn't going anywhere. So I think that we could have been more proactive and we could have went ahead and put a virtual platform. Our teachers were working from home last year. We could have said, you guys, you know what? You need to go ahead and start preparing online lesson plans. In the case of, which is what we kind of figured, they would have to do some virtual learning. I think that we should have had our technologists go ahead and put a Schoology platform in place so that the teachers wouldn't have had to sit there and do folders 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, day of the week and all that. They could have lessened loads for the teachers. I think that, you know, honestly, I was really disappointed that our teachers weren't granted the flexibility to sit there and say, what do you guys want to focus on? Do you want to be a virtual teacher or do you want to be an in-person teacher? I think that would have taken some of the load off of them. And that wasn't given, that wasn't an option. And I had hoped that by the spring semester, that would have been an option. Like I said, and I know Dr. Kraft said maybe next year virtual will not be, you know, permitted depending on what the legislator says, but again, being proactive, just in case it is, then we need to go ahead and prepare that. So again, the teachers are not set in the same situation they are right now. Granted, having said that the teachers are doing double duty, this also negatively affects the students who are learning virtually or who are learning in person. They're getting further and further behind. It's just a lose-lose situation for everyone. And so that's what my biggest concern is right now, is basically tackling that and being proactive for next year.
Thank you, Mr. Adams.
I would say biggest kind of the academic achievement gaps. I mean, there's data that show there were gaps, there were issues with the gap prior to COVID, especially among those the populations of color and economically disadvantaged. And it's still there. And I think the ways to address that are encompassing of mental wellness, consistency of policies and procedures, improving teacher morale and involvement. All those things will affect the academic achievement gap. So we have to look at what we were doing before COVID that wasn't working, and now look at ways to do things better. And I think we once we address those mental wellness, those consistency issues, those morale issues, and those engagement and involvement issues, we will see our academic gap close, almost eradicated, I believe. And so as we do this, I think we shift our focus to having higher expectations for all once we have closed that gap.